U.S. President Donald Trump said he agreed to a 2-week ceasefire with Iran less than 2 hours before his deadline for Tehran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz or face what the president called the death of, quote, a whole civilization. The 11th hour agreement was the latest example of Trump backing away after making threats in recent weeks. Iranian state TV flashed an announcement claiming that Trump had accepted Iran's terms for ending the war. In a Truth Social post, Trump said the last-minute deal was subject to Iran's agreement to the, quote, complete, immediate, and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz. Trump also said Iran had submitted a 10-point plan, which he called a workable basis on which to negotiate. Crude oil futures fell more than 10% on the news of the ceasefire and a reopening of the strait. The waterway typically handles about a fifth of the world's oil shipments, but Iran had closed it in response to U.S. and Israeli strikes, sending oil prices spiking and raising the risk of a worldwide economic downturn. Minutes after Trump's post, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said in a statement the strait would reopen, but in coordination with Iranian armed forces. 2 White House officials told Reuters that Israel had also agreed to the 2-week ceasefire and to suspend its own bombing campaign. Iranian state media said talks, which have been mediated by Pakistan, would begin this Friday in Islamabad.
The big reading for Israel is that they don't want to stop. They want to carry on wars to blackmail the entire region, naturally. Where will this lead? To more wars and more destruction.
Now he's excluded Lebanon. There will be pressure on him, and hopefully a ceasefire will happen, because Lebanon can't take it anymore. The country is collapsing economically, and everything is collapsing.
It's unbelievable that Lebanon got involved in this war. Then in the end, the Iranians say no. The Iranians won't let us down. They never let us down.
China and Russia on Tuesday vetoed a UN Security Council resolution that urged countries to coordinate efforts to protect commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, calling it biased against Iran. That was ahead of U.S. President Donald Trump agreeing to a 2-week ceasefire, hours before his deadline for Tehran to reopen the strait or face devastating attacks. The truce was conditioned on the Strait of Hormuz reopening. 11 council members had backed the Bahrain-sponsored measure, but Beijing and Moscow blocked it, and 2 countries abstained. U.S. Ambassador to the UN Mike Waltz condemned the vetoes, accusing Iran of holding the global economy hostage and calling on responsible nations to join Washington in securing the passage.
Today's veto marks a new low, and it shows just how frightening a safer, more secure, more united Middle East can be.
While Beijing and Moscow said the Council should push for de-escalation and diplomacy, China and Russia used their vetoes even though Bahrain had significantly weakened its draft after China opposed authorizing force. The version submitted to a vote dropped any authorization of the use of force and removed an explicit reference to binding enforcement that had appeared in an earlier draft. Iran welcomed the vetoes, with Iran's UN Ambassador Amir Saeed Iravani saying it prevented the Security Council from being misused to legitimize aggression.
Why should we cease fire? Obviously, here it is written, Strait of Hormuz will remain closed. Now it has opened again.
Whatever our leader says goes. We are obedient to him. Whatever His Excellency says, we obey the leader's command. Not a step ahead nor a step behind. If he deems it appropriate, we will have a ceasefire. If not, we are ready to stay in the streets and fight forever.
Oil prices dived and stocks surged on Wednesday after the announcement of a 2-week ceasefire in the Middle East. U.S. President Donald Trump said he had agreed to suspend bombing and attacks on Iran and that a long-term peace agreement was in progress. Following the news, U.S. crude futures plunged as much as 16.5% to hit $94 a barrel. Asia's stock markets, which have been beaten down by war and soaring energy prices, saw a big jump. Japan's Nikkei index surged more than 5% by mid-morning. In South Korea, the benchmark Kospi index was up close to 6%. Global markets have been rattled since the US and Israel attacked Iran at the end of February, leading Tehran to effectively close the Strait of Hormuz. The 6-week conflict has sent oil prices surging, with countries and companies scrambling to adjust to the energy shock. An analyst said that, quote, markets have been predicting that Trump was looking for an off-ramp in Iran. Today, he got one and took it.
North Korea has fired multiple ballistic missiles toward the sea off its east coast on Wednesday, according to South Korea's military. South Korea's Joint Chief of Staff said the latest launch occurred at around 2:20 p.m. local time. The Japan Coast Guard said the missile fell into the sea about 10 minutes later. Tokyo said no missile entered its territorial waters or exclusive economic zone. On Tuesday, a separate launch was detected near Pyongyang. Citing military officials, South Korea's Yonhap news agency said that it was probably a ballistic missile. The agency said that the missile flew eastward before showing signs of an abnormality and disappearing. The incident marked North Korea's 4th, 5th, and 6th ballistic missile launches this year, following 2 in January and a 3rd in March. Analysts say the launches could reflect routine weapons development and may be linked to ongoing engine and propulsion testing, including work on solid fuel systems. Pyongyang has been seeking to upgrade its strike capability with solid fuel missiles that are often easier and safer to operate and require less logistical support than liquid-fueled weapons. South Korea's Presidential Blue House convened an emergency National Security Council meeting on Wednesday. Media reports say it called the earlier launches a provocation that violated UN Security Council resolutions.